Hey, Lisa.
Hey, hey, how are you?
Good. Do you
Good.
remember which thread you had that information about your friend that had the triple negative stuff going on?
I think I did it in the director's thread, but I can share it with you
Yeah.
separately if you want.
Okay.
Sorry, but I'm sorry that you have somebody struggling with that.
There's somebody on a herbalist page that I follow that specifically mentioned something similar to what you were talking about. So
That breaks my heart.
Mm,
That breaks my heart.
yeah.
way too much. I just shared somebody's post about how wearing bras actually increases your risk of breast cancer like a gazillion times. The longer you wear one. So if you're someone that sleeps in one, you basically are going to get cancer. Like, that's great.
Really?
You're
Yeah.
Let's
telling me that
also
because I sleep
Yeah.
in a sports bra all the time.
let's add mammograms onto that list too.
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to stay away from.
Yeah,
There's better.
that's a whole
there's-
nother topic we're gonna need to
Exactly.
another
Right.
day.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see if Lisa can go live.
I'm
No pressure.
It
glad
says
it's you
I
trying, not
can.
me.
It says I can. My timeline, go live. Says we're going, so if somebody can let me know that we're there, I will keep letting people in.
I left my phone in.
Got lots of people joining today. I love that.
Yay.
It's a
Wow.
popular
There's been
topic.
a lot of people with pet questions in my world, like in the past 2 days. So this is very timely.
Well, that is awesome. That is
We are-
absolutely awesome. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I will let people in as they come in. My light keeps turning off, so I apologize. I might end up in the dark here, but welcome everybody. It is Sunday. It is Flossom 4-day. It is I don't know where you all live in, but here in Charlotte, North Carolina, it is absolutely beautiful. I think it was like 80 some degrees out there today. I don't know about you ladies, but
Wow.
yeah, was it nice by you, Dawn?
Not 80 degrees nice, but nicer.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
relatively nice for us.
Well,
Yes.
true.
Not
Was it in
raining.
the 50s?
Yeah,
Yes.
wasn't it like mid-50s? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Might have even
That's-
hit 60 when it stopped raining.
there you go. So I am, for those of you who don't know, I am Lisa Messerschmidt, and I am here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We do this awesome, well, we think it's awesome, chit chat every Sunday night in which we have it's usually four of us consistently. Sometimes we have guest speakers. Today we have a guest speaker, and we really just hop on and talk about all the things that everybody, kind of like the FAQs, right? The questions that people come to us most often about in regard to, hey, I want to take hemp-based wellness. Where do I start? What is it? All of those things. So we just thought, because we get these questions all the time and all the time, that, you know what, we might as well just go live and share it with the masses. This may be for you, this may not be for you, but today, I'm going to be honest, this one, I am so excited, Michelle and Dawn, that you're going to chat today about all things pet related when it comes to hemp-based wellness and how our pets can use it, what benefits you have seen. And the reason I think I am, besides that, I know how much it has helped my little pups. I think I am most excited because so often people will, question me about CBD, how does it work? Does it really work? Is it a placebo? And I always say to them, I have two answers when people ask me about if it's a placebo. And really, I think and Michelle and Dawn, you might know this better from your nursing background, but I think right now, like the statistics out there are like 1/3 or so of all prescription drugs that people are prescribed for X, whatever X happens to be, the people are actually getting placebo effect from that. And my thought on that is, okay, so if I'm taking something natural, not putting any additional chemicals in my body, if it happens to be a placebo effect, hooray for me, because it's also doing other things to help me, right? As compared to if I was still taking my medication for anxiousness and to get rid of that hamster wheel in my chest, that might have been placebo effect helping me, but it was adding more chemicals to my body. So I always love that, but even more so, I just shared this. I'm like, listen, pets don't understand the placebo effect. They have no idea if I am giving them a treat or if I'm giving them medicine or if they don't care what I'm giving them. They just want it, right? So when we have seen so many, and I know, Michelle, you've got some really cool things to share about this, but we have seen so many dogs, cats, any pet with a spine really have huge benefits in this that it's just too good not to share. So I am going to turn this over to Michelle and Dawn. Michelle, they are both in Massachusetts. They have been with Green Compass, I think, for 5 years now, since 2019. Both came into the business for totally different reasons. I believe Dawn came into the business because she was just looking for a wicked deal to save a whole lot of money on her products. And I believe one of Michelle's very first comments when she was approached with the business opportunity was, oh my gosh, I can help so many dogs. Do you know how many dogs I can help with this? And so Michelle and Dawn are both career nurses, been bedside and all the things. And Michelle, you work with a rescue, but I forget what kind of dogs. They're beautiful hunting dogs.
Yeah, they're German short-haired pointers.
That's
So
it. So
the
Michelle
crazy
works,
spotted ones.
they are stunning, absolutely stunning. If y'all saw the graphic for this, that's one of her dogs. I think that was Remy.
Mhm.
And so Michelle has some very good both personal experience with the products, but also she is a veterinary cannabis guide. So that's like the biggest steps you can take until you like have to be a veterinarian or a vet tech or something like that. So not only does she have the personal experience, she does have the studies and the education behind it. And Dawn, I love this because you not only are a long-term nurse and a mama, but you also breed some of the most beautiful pups. I think you do, are they golden doodles or double doodles, right?
Right. So we've done Labradoodles, Golden Doodles, and Double Doodles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're a small family breeder.
yeah, they are just absolutely precious. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the two of you. I'm not quite sure how you want to do this. As we tell everybody every time we do this on a Sunday, we don't practice. We don't have a script. Goodness help us, because you never know what's going to come out of the mouth or what soapbox we're going to get on. So
Right.
I'm going to
Brace
put
yourself.
myself on mute and let you ladies take it away.
So I'll actually jump in if you don't mind. So I want to touch on something that you had said, Lisa, about the placebo effect. And what I was thinking while you were saying that is this. So obviously, yes, animals cannot have the placebo effect. It either works or it doesn't, and we will see it in their actions, whether it's them having better movement, being less anxious, more calm, less of the zoomies that spaz, like Tasmanian devil behavior, right? That they get oftentimes. But when we think of the placebo effect, think of it. So either way, when we talk about the placebo effect, that shows to me the power of your mindset too. And
Mhm.
that is so immensely important. And I feel like, yes, it has nothing to do necessarily with CBD, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about that, because we have this mind body connection where we literally have the ability with our thoughts and our emotions to make ourselves healthy and unwell, right?
Mhm.
And I hate to glaze over this too lightly, but I want everybody to remember that we are such powerful beings. Our bodies were actually designed to heal themselves. So when there's a disease process, it is something out of balance. And unfortunately, these days, it is almost 100% of the time an environmental factor, something that we have ingested, injected, inhaled, put on our skin. And the same is true for our animals too. So we live in a day and age where everybody wants to have the most luxurious lawns and no dandelions and, weed control and things like this. But we're forgetting too that they fall victim to the same problems that we do. And, here's an example, but you don't really hear of coyotes out there getting these major tumors and being found dead with cancerous tumors, right? Because they're eating a wild diet. They're out there in the wild where they have less exposure, at least, to a lot of the chemicals that we introduce into our environment. And we have created that problem. That is very true. So, I just want people to think about this when it is, time for the lawn and garden guys to come around, or your landscapers. And I would say it behooves you to ask questions about what you're putting on your lawn realistically, because anything that has Roundup or glyphosate or a lot of these weed killers, fertilizers, where yes, our lawn may look beautiful and immaculate and there's no grubs and no weeds and all of this. But what happens to the world around us is that our pets and our children and ourselves, right? We walk on this beautiful grass. We start to collect some of these toxins in our environment, and our dogs are putting it right on the pads of their feet. And then what happens? How does a dog clean themselves? They lick themselves. So not only are they getting it topically, but now they're ingesting it too. So that's a double whammy. And then we know, unfortunately, our food supply is terrible these days and full of things that should not be allowed. And the dogs are no different. And in some cases, the guidance on their food could even be worse and less governed than people. So that's just my kind of soapbox on that. But Michelle has always been such also, I've got 4 dogs. At any given moment, those are our family pets. Like, they live in our house, they're snuggling up with us. And at any given moment, we may have a litter or 2, sometimes simultaneously. But, when I think you're a dog person, an animal lover, things like that, we hold our animals on kind of a different regard. And I remember there was this older gentleman one day that told me this kind of funny joke. Well, I think it's funny, but he said, "You want to know who loves you more, your wife or your dog? Lock them both in the trunk of your car for an hour and come back and see who's happy to see you." Right? So it's anecdotally, we just know that dogs or animals have this unconditional love for us. We are their people, and they look to us to give them the best, the best treatment, right? I mean, they're happy with anything. However, they are so loyal and such a huge part of our families. And if you've ever experienced the loss of a dog, you know how truly devastating it can be. I mean, this is kind of embarrassing to say, but I feel like I may have cried more when my dog died a few years ago than when my dad did. And it's not to say that I didn't love my dad, but it was just a different connection. I knew my dad was sick, right? And all those things. And I think I could prepare myself in a different way. But it can be devastating when we lose a pet, a family pet that is I hate to even call them a pet because they're a family member.
Mhm.
And so when we're looking at caring for them, this is part of it, is looking at the environment, looking at the things we're taking care of, giving them, exposing them to, but then also part of this too is once there is an issue, how do we treat it? So my 6-year-old is one of his chores every day is to feed the dogs twice a day. And he moans and groans and hems and haws about it. But then when he finally does it, he walks over and we have this little buffet or credenza that he gets the CBD from. And one of our 4 dogs is a 13-year-old golden doodle, and she's about 112 pounds. So she's a good sized girl. That being said, we know unfortunately that the bigger dogs don't have the same lifespan and that they tend to have a lot of wear and tear on their joints, on their bodies. And so he knows that this is part of her regimen, is that she gets the CBD twice a day, and he doesn't even ask anymore. He knows that that's, her little cup. She gets this, and then he's funny. He'll actually guard the other dogs so that they don't come over and try to get her food because, that's special for her. So it's funny to see that even this little guy knows that she needs this. So we've gone through these periods where he may forget to tell me that the bottle is run low or run empty. So she's been without it. And, a giant golden doodle like that, who is the brightest light, on the planet. She's just so full of joy and happiness, but sometimes we'll really struggle and have a hard time getting up and down the stairs, big flights of stairs. Even just, you can see her body. She's like a little old lady or a big old lady, right? And just getting around is a little harder for her. So we know when she hasn't had her CBD, if there is a lapse in it because of that, because we can start to see it on her. And when she's on it, she runs like a puppy from, an acre away when I come driving down the driveway, and just wagging her tail and happy. And you can see that spring in her step that she doesn't have if we don't keep her maintained at this point. So Michelle, I'd love to turn this over a little bit to you though, because Michelle's specialty with dogs is that she's a huge part of a local rescue with the GSPs, with the German short-haired pointers. And if you know anything about hunting dogs, they can be a special breed, and Michelle can solidify that for you.
Gosh.
Or you're right. So these dogs, this is just kind of ingrained in them. They have a high level of energy, and that's an understatement, I know, but just Michelle, can you kind of, because when she came to Green Compass, and Lisa, you might have said this, but one of the very first things she said when she learned about CBD and how it was appropriate for all mammals, I believe the words verbatim were, "I can help so many dogs with this,"
I can help
and
so many rescue dogs with this.
rescue dogs, yeah, and has continued to, and frankly has built an amazing business despite being a nurse by day, has built this amazing business by helping dogs and animals feel better too. So Michelle, I'd love to turn it over to you a little bit and just give us a little background on what you do, what you see as maybe like a commonality in a lot of dogs, not just necessarily rescue dogs, but what people are coming to you for help with, and even just kind of a rough idea of dosing, product choice, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I'll go into all of that. So I am Michelle Morris. I have been sharing Green Compass products for about 5 years now. And indeed, when my friend Holly called me and said she was trying this new CBD and would I like to try it with her, and she told me they had pet products, I said, well, I can help so many rescue dogs with that. Like I wasn't even thinking about myself and my chronic pain. I thought about the dogs first. Because since 2005, I've been volunteering with German Short-Haired Pointer Rescue of New England, and they're a very high energy dog breed that are literally bred to hunt. They're really bred to hunt birds of different kinds, waterfowl and upland, but they'll hunt anything that has a pulse, okay? Like, they don't care if it's a vole or a snake or a bird, or most recently on Friday afternoon, a Fisher cat, which landed us in the emergency room at the dog hospital emergency room, with my newest boy, who is a foster fail. But in 2005, I started by adopting a pointer mix, fell in love with this breed, and they're zest for life. And I've never had anything else since. So I fostered years ago. I was fostering more frequently, and where I moved to 10 years ago is a little difficult to foster, so I'm not doing it as often, but I still have fostered a lot of dogs. And generally people give up this breed because they're too much. They're either too anxious because they don't give them a job or an outlet for their exercise, or they're literally too physically strong. If they have no training in them. If you don't give them something to do, they will eat your couch. They will eat the siding off your house. Like, these are the dogs that get turned into us. And so I would usually prefer to take the behavioral ones, because Michelle's a nurse and she can handle medications. And when I first started rescuing, a lot of the dogs came with prescriptions because the owners didn't know what the hell to do with them. So they medicated them, and they'd be on really strong pharmaceuticals to try to drug them. And unfortunately, when you do that, a lot of times the side effect is aggressive behavior, and then they end up getting dumped in rescue. So it's a vicious cycle. So that's why when I heard about CBD as an opportunity to do something different, I was so excited, because there's nothing worse than having a terrified dog who has OCD and separation anxiety become aggressive and then you can tell the dog feels awful because they don't know why they're being aggressive to you. Like, it's just terrible. Literally was able to take those prescription bottles and flush them down the toilet, which is not really what you're supposed to do, but that's what I did. And I had one particular dog who had terrible thunderstorm phobia. Still the most phobic dog I've ever taken care of. I had her for 4 months, and I really wish I had CBD then. That was like just before I learned about CBD. I think I could have turned her around a lot faster if I had CBD sooner, but that's generally the dogs I take. But, you don't need to have a behavioral issue, or, it can really just be, or a physical issue, like, let's say, joint pain, or, I don't know what else to say, skin issues. Like, you don't really need to just have a physical issue. You can even use this to help. What I really liked was use it to help the transition when you're moving a dog from one home to another, or from a kennel to a foster home, or from the foster home to the adoptive home. Having the CBD to help ease that transition is huge. And for the really small number of really well-adjusted fosters that I've had, I still put them on CBD while I've had them, and then I send a bottle or two with them because I want them to be on it for the transition, and they may not need to be on it after that because they're young and healthy until later on when, their owners decide to choose that again. Oh. So that's how I've used it. But it's not just for dogs. I've been helping people with their cats. I actually have a client who has a pig. He was supposed to be a mini potbelly pig, and he ended up being not mini, but he was bred and had some sort of deformity with his legs. So he had like early onset arthritis, even though he was a young pig. And so he's been on CBD and CBDA, and that's worked out really well. So pretty much if you have a spine, you have an endocannabinoid system, and the hemp flower is full of things that can help you. So so we can talk about what being a veterinary cannabis guide is. So I am a nurse, I feel pretty confident in sharing, hemp with people, but I felt because I'm not a veterinary professional, even though I've been working with animals my whole life and been co-running a dog rescue for over 20 years, I still felt like I needed something more to connect all the dots. So I found a program that offered a certification for people who are not veterinary professionals. So for people that aren't veterinarians or vet techs, this is the opportunity to learn about the endocannabinoid system, learn harm reduction for pets, and learn how to be basically a liaison for someone. Let's say I have a client, I can be a liaison for the client and their veterinary professional to help, share information. In some instances, because I am just helping people choose safe products and help guide them how to take those products, but I am not treating dogs with cannabis in any form. This is just more of a supportive role. I also, as a veterinary cannabis guide, can connect people with veterinary professionals that actually do use cannabis to treat pets. That is a thing, but it should only be done by very specific qualified veterinary professionals. So that's not me,
No.
that's not my role.
Michelle, when you say cannabis, you're talking about a high THC.
I'm talking about, yeah, like if people want to
Okay.
treat their dog's cancer with cannabis, that's not our role at all. Or, whatever, if they want to use high THC cannabis, then that is someone that I would refer out to, or refer out. But we can most certainly, and confidently, and I've done it for many, many pets. I actually don't have a count, but it's probably in the hundreds at this point because I give so much advice to people that aren't even my clients. Hundreds of pets that have benefited from using CBD. So today we are here talking about Green Compass, so I can really focus on the products that Green Compass shares. And I can't stress enough. Actually, my friend Donna is on the call here listening tonight. She was just sharing with me about someone who gave their dog a CBD product and swore that the dog got high from it. And that is a thing. But I'm sad to say, it probably happened because whatever she thought she was giving the dog wasn't CBD or had something in addition to CBD in it. It was mislabeled. And that's why it's so important to know where your product, all about your product, where it's grown, all about the company and their integrity, and to have scannable codes or some sort of access to the certificate of analysis on the product that you're giving your pet. But if you don't even know what you're looking at, because it is a complicated lot of numbers and letters, that's where we come in as advocates for Green Compass, or as also as a veterinary cannabis guide to be able to help people decipher what a certificate of analysis says, because just because your product has one doesn't mean it's safe for your pet either. So the bottom line is that all CBD products are not created equal, and you really, in this unregulated market, need someone to advocate for you if you have no idea where, if you're starting off brand new. That's what we can all
Sure.
offer you here, right?
That being said, so if anybody doesn't know what a certificate of analysis is, it's going to be a complete, literally a complete, what is it, like 3 pages, I believe.
Ours are the
list.
longest I've seen in the industry. Like when I took this interactive course, veterinary cannabis guide course, there were other people on there that had never heard of Green Compass products. They were very impressed with our certificates of analysis because most companies are 1 page, ours are 3 to 5. They're
Right.
very extensive.
And as Michelle was saying, there's a little, I don't know if anybody can see this, but there's a little QR code on here. And this happens to be a drink product for humans, but it doesn't matter if it's the pet products, something for people, a topical cream, anything. There's going to be that same certificate of analysis, and we hold our pet products to the same standards. So everything really is like a human could ingest these same products. And
we have.
we have, yes. I mean, it's market research, right? How can you really share about a product unless you've tried the bacon flavored pet CBD?
In your
So-
bloody
Right. And that to me is equally as important, is that we are holding the standard of the product to the same standard that we would for people. And that is not something that happens all the time out there for a myriad of different reasons, but usually cost is the biggest thing, and taking shortcuts. And there's several products, that we'll cover that are pet specific, but I can tell you, for instance, I give that same dog that I was telling you about, she gets collagen, and I give her our collagen as well. and sometimes some of our other products as well. So, you know, you can get creative on a needs basis, but when you're looking for health and healing, there's so many options. And Michelle, what do you feel like is something that you get asked about the most? Is it pain? Is it anxiousness?
Anxiousness. Especially since we've all were home for so long and we have a lot of
Mhm.
dogs that were not socialized properly for like years. And then they have to reintegrate into doggy daycare or into just going to dog parks or going for a walk in a neighborhood. And they don't know how to be, you know, they just don't know how to be. And you're anxious as a handler and the dog feels it. And it's just this circle, you keep giving it back to each other because we're all more anxious as a society. It used to be pain, but now I feel like it's anxiousness. And it doesn't really matter what, you know, what breed or even, you know, what type of furry pet that you have. You know your pet better than anyone, better than any veterinary professional, better than your dog walker. And as we already talked about this earlier, like you're going to be able to see the subtlest changes in your pet when you start using any CBD product. So the very first thing I share with people is this is just like with people. So it's the same thing with your pets. There's a range, and we always want to start with the lowest, like a very low amount of the product and gradually build up. Because there are some Rottweilers that are super sensitive and don't need much product. And then there's some Chihuahuas that really need a lot of product. And I really do understand that, but some other people don't. There are some really anxious cats out there that need a lot of product too. So, we do have pet tinctures that Green Compass makes. And just to briefly go over the product line, there is a 250 milligram and a 500 milligram pet tincture. I get asked all the time, what's different about those? There's two differences. One is that they're made in hemp seed oil as a carrier oil instead of coconut oil. Popular opinion will say that hemp seed oil is better on a pet's stomach. However, my personal experience and a lot of it, I mean, you're giving such a tiny amount of oil to your pet. I really don't think it makes that much of a difference what your carrier oil is, whether it's coconut oil or hemp seed oil for pets. Maybe it makes more of a difference if your dog's 10 pounds, but when your dog's 70 pounds, it really doesn't matter. But if you have a hesitation about it, the pet products are where you start. And then there's also pet treats. And the pet treats, we just had this conversation today, they can be used for dogs and cats. Cats do use them. And cats can be very sensitive to the terpenes in CBD or in the hemp flower extract, no matter what it is, whether it's a treat or in an oil form. So sometimes it seems like the cats, they just do better in taking the treat form. So it's the other things that are in the treats, makes it more palatable. It doesn't really matter what you're using. The treats are very convenient. There's some people that use the treats, put a few drops of oil on them, you know, like you can mix it up like that. One of the main things that I learned during my veterinary cannabis course was that it is safe to use full spectrum products with your pets. Okay, as long as you trust and know that product line. I think the hesitation with full spectrum for some people and their pets is because the market is unregulated and there's a lot of companies out there that may not be you may not trust what's in the bottle is matching their label. I never worry about that with this company at all. And so when I am recommending products, I'm almost always recommending full spectrum oils, the unflavored oils for pets. And as Dawn mentioned, I do recommend for certain things the unflavored collagen for pets as well. But you really cannot go wrong. The pet products are a broad spectrum, and the full spectrum, if you don't know the difference, just means that the tiny bit of THC that naturally occurs in the hemp plant is left there and not removed. But because we have certificates of analysis and we know exactly how much of a minute amount of THC that is, they are safe. They are truly safe for pets. And that is one of the big ahas I took away from my veterinary cannabis course, is that that's okay to use. But if you don't have that comfort level, the pet tinctures and the pet treats are broad spectrum with no THC in them. Another thing that I learned in my veterinary cannabis course is the veterinary cannabis community really embraces the tincture form, does not recommend the water-based or water-soluble format for every pet. It's an individual thing, but getting around that is putting a little bit of tincture on your treats, like a little drops of tincture, because basically the water-soluble treats really give them divided up twice a day. They'll give your dog better coverage, but they do not have as long of lasting effect in the body as the tinctures do. So that's just their feeling on it. That's their philosophy, is to lead with the oils. Honestly, if you're giving it regularly, you're giving it multiple times a day, it doesn't matter. And as I say with people, if you aren't going, if you're not going to take it, it doesn't really matter what's best for you or what's not best for you. So like if your pet will only take the treats, then that's what they're going to get, right? Because that's what's going to work for them. Nobody's the same. Like no cat's the same. No dog's the same, no pig's the same. But that's the bare basics. Dosing, I really look at dosing small animals like 15 pounds or under. I really look at dosing in drops, truly drops. And the pet treats can even be broken down into 1/8. This may sound crazy to people that have 90-pound dogs, but you can actually cut those treats up into 8 tiny pieces and use 1/8 twice a day for let's say a 10-pound cat. Like you can do that. Another tip that I have with using the treats is to take them and put them inside another package when you get them, so that they stay nice and moist, because by the end of the month of using the package, because the products are put in compostable packaging, which is amazing. But if you have a Chihuahua, it's going to take you a long time to get through that envelope. And it's not going to hold the moisture as well. So take that envelope and put it inside, a ball jar or another Ziploc bag or something like that. There is no need to take your tinctures and put them in the fridge. You don't need to do it. Another thing that I could mention here, and I know Rena's on this call and we've talked about this quite a bit, is using CBDA for dogs. There's many pet professionals, cannabis pet professionals that literally use ratios of CBD to CBDA for different things, for like the joint creakiness and wanting to level out mood and things like that. It's really well received by them. They don't even seem to care if it's cinnamon or regular. Like they just don't care. So we don't have a lot of variety in flavors. And we definitely don't have any bacon flavored CBDA. But I find I've never had an issue giving pets the CBDA either. And that is, remember, the CBDA is very concentrated compared to our CBD products. So we're talking like a drop or 2 a day for a small animal, and maybe a quarter dropper to, it's a range. This is just a range, but maybe like starting with a quarter dropper twice a day for like a average size 40-ish pound dog, somewhere in there. It's like anything else. You don't want to give any more than you have to, so you can start very low, practice with drops, and tweak that up and watch your dog that is going to show you really if it's going to work, is not going to lie to you, is not going to overthink it. Your cat certainly isn't going to lie to you, because cats, they could give crap about what you think. They're going to do their own thing. So
Cats have no poker face.
yes. And who was I just talking to today that said their cat, oh, Erin, that someone's cat literally changed her whole personality. The cat had become so aggressive and she was using teeny bits of the pet treats on the cat. And the owner called her back and said, "Thank you for giving me my cat back." She was going to give up her cat because he had become so aggressive towards her. I've heard that.
Wow.
Right, Rena? I've heard that more than a few times. So I don't know what it is about the cat's endocannabinoid systems, but all of us, they're all fragile. Our endocannabinoid systems are fragile, and we're just exposed to so many toxins that your ECS can only balance so much. And animals' metabolisms are just so much faster than us. It seems like they need more support even than we do with the plant.
on that note too, and I'm going to preface this comment by saying if I happen to pop off, my battery seems to be draining really quickly for some reason right now, and I'm not sure why. But, digestive issues, allergies, skin conditions, like these are things that we're hearing more of in humans, but also in pets too. And I think we have to start thinking outside the box when it comes to remedies for them, because there are so many things that, again, are very likely environmentally motivated or instigated problems that have come up. But there's a ton of pets with really sensitive bellies and that will get hot spots on their skin where it's almost like a little sore or a bald patch, or even the overlicking of the paws, if anybody has seen that. And
Mom, just to let
okay,
you know.
okay, I'm on a call. Sorry. Is it an emergency?
No,
Okay.
I just want to tell you.
All right, hold that thought. Sorry. He's 6. Yeah. Anyway, I'm like, you know what? I have no idea what's going to come out of his mouth, so we're going to pause that thought before the whole world hears it. Anyhow, but we're seeing all of these autoimmune disorders even happening in our animals. And these are all things that hemp-based wellness and plant-based medicine can help with. And I really just want people to know that when they're thinking of what can I do for my pet? How can I help them? I would love it if people would just come to us first instead of as a last resort. And unfortunately, I think that's what happens oftentimes is they wait for the medical community to fail them before they come to us and say, I'm at my wit's end, please help. You know what? We're seeing this wellness revolution for both people and pets. And I'm starting to see people say, you know what? No, I don't want to go there yet. I'm going to make traditional, or I shouldn't even say traditional, modern medicine is going to be my second resort. If I can't get there first, trying these healing modalities naturally, then I'll consider that. And that just warms my heart like nobody's business.
Right. And I also want to mention prevention. Like with people or pets, if you stay healthy and you don't get ill, like it's just the best way to go. Like trying to fix something after it's broken is a lot harder than keeping it unbroken in the first place. So use it to stay healthy. So this foster fail, this is what we call when a foster doesn't leave, when we decide to keep him, when your boyfriend falls in love with the dog and he's never going to leave. Even though your resident dog wants him gone, she lost that fight. But anyway, so Cisco is here. He's been here since February. He's not leaving. He's the one that got into it with the Fisher cat on Friday. So he has some things to learn. But I'm going to keep giving it to him. I gave it to him just for the transition. He's doing so well on it, but he's about to learn he's going to get some new training this spring. We're going to be teaching him all sorts of new things. I want him to have a receptive, balanced mind. I want him to have no anxiety. He's learned the pack order in the house. He's still a little iffy with the boundary setting with the other dog, but he's more receptive to correction the longer I have him on a basic dose. Nothing crazy. And so my goals with doing that is to keep him healthy so that I don't end up having a dog with a lot of health issues down the road. Will I still get pet insurance? Yes. Does he still get his regular veterinary care? Of course. Does he still get vaccinations? He gets them and then he gets titers. Like I still do my regular vet care, but this is going to help keep him healthy. I've done it with, as long as I've had it in the past 5 years with any dogs that's come through this house. And my other dog, Remy, who is just about 10, she was diagnosed actually before I even had CBD with an autoimmune disorder. And, she is on some pharmaceuticals because she has to. She can't eat without them. But the side effects of her medical treatment are totally managed with CBD, CBDA. And you wouldn't know. She's smarter. She didn't go after the Fisher cat. She just watched him and laughed. But she nipped its little tail and then ran away and laughed. But Cisco, poor thing. But it's her quality of life is great. Like it's great. And I know that I don't have to throw other layers of medications at her with more side effects. Like this keeps side effects to the bare minimum, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, Michelle, I think I've thought this before, but I kind of, I guess, forgot about it. When you talk about the dogs as they're transitioning,
Mhm.
and I love the fact that, as you said, you know, you give it to them to just help them calm down so that they're receptors and they're receptive to being in the new place. I mean, goodness knows what situation they came from, right? So they most often when dogs, cats get into a like a shelter, right? Or animal control or whatever, it is like total chaos. They are in fight, flight, or freeze. They don't know what they don't know. They just know they hated where they were and they really hate being in those kennels. And now somebody new is going to come take them and they just don't have a clue
Right.
who to trust and who not to trust and how to let their guard down. And all they want is to be loved. And I love the fact that you give them just enough of that to just calm them down so that they can, it's no different than us. I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It gives us an opportunity to pause before we react. And I think that is so important, especially in with the fosters, because so often people take a dog from the kennel or wherever, and they don't allow that dog time to decompress. And now
Mhm.
they think it's just a crazy dog. And then they're like, okay,
Huge.
back you
That's a
go.
really
And
good point, Lisa. Really good point. We have this, I just have to stop you here because this came to mind. We have this, I don't know, it's a saying or whatever you want to call it in the rescue world where it's 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. Some people say 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months.
yep,
For me, I really think it's 3, 3, 3. You will see profound difference at the 2 or 3 week mark and at the 2 at the 3 month mark,
Yeah.
like huge. And when people return dogs to shelters or to rescues in a week, nope, they did not even give the dog a chance. Like, imagine if you got dropped in a foreign country where you didn't speak the language in a week and you flunked, and so they sent you home. You know, I mean, like, it's nuts. And that's a well-adjusted dog trying to figure things out, you know? So
exactly. Yeah.
give it a chance. And so CBD can do that.
I just love that. Well, we can't thank you enough for sharing your knowledge. And I'm watching the comments on the Facebook Live and in the Zoom. And you're going to have to check them out, Michelle, because there's several people who have already tagged you who aren't even actually customers of yours. They're probably customers of all of us who are thanking you for helping them get back on track or helping them get their dogs to the right dosing to help them be the best family members they can be. So with that, Meredith, we are going to turn it over to you. This is Meredith Kroom. She is also in North Carolina. She is a busy, busy mama. She has a new puppy. I don't even know how old is that puppy now, which is terrorizing their life at the moment.
How's that
But I
CBD use
think she
going?
is just so cute. We love that you post things about her all the time. So I'm just going to let you take it over and close us out.
I'm the closer tonight.
You're the closer today.
But yeah, so I don't get to participate in the pet CBD world as much as I would love to. I actually was worked in vet medicine for 6 years, and my first college major was pre-veterinary medicine until I hit the chemistry department, and then I completely, that was it. So I ended up over in business, and I'm, messing with plants now. But some of the things that I have seen and that really surprised the crap out of me, even in the field of veterinary medicine, is how much they don't know, how much even the staff at, and I don't mean to point fingers, I have a friend that rescued, there was actually a little Chihuahua mix that was lost over here in the woods right around the nursery last year for days. And he was finally caught. She adopted him. She works at a vet clinic. And I was talking to her the other day, and she was saying that he was having some very severe aggression stuff going on, and they were trying to work with him through that. And she, I said, well, he's probably a really great candidate for CBD. And she is like, oh, he has treats. I got him from Amazon. And I was like, how's that working? And she was like, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. And I said, that's because it's not CBD, because Amazon cannot and does not sell true CBD products. And that's why I have this little bag here, because I want people to look at this and realize what they are or are not getting. This is a bag of hemp essential treats. There is not one iota, not one single itty bitty ounce of CBD or THC in this product. It is literally hemp seed oil is the first main product. And then kelp and collagen and some other stuff. So there's no CBD in these products. And this bag is $37. So it's really nothing. You're paying a
Nice.
lot of money for something that is running off of the the what's the word I'm looking for? The help me out,
Not
Michelle.
worth the hype. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
they're running off of the hype.
Yeah, they're just trying to
surrounding hemp
capitalize
and
on
CBD.
the
Yeah, they're just trying to
popularity.
capitalize on it. So I want people to be aware of what they're getting and where they're getting it from. If you're buying your pet CBD products off of Amazon or your own, it is not CBD. And I can't stress that enough. As likewise, if you're buying it from, a gas station or a grocery store or even PetSmart, I don't know that PetSmart is actually truly carrying CBD product in the aisle. Now, you could get it from Banfield at the store. They could possibly have it, but the stuff that's in the aisle is not. So be careful what you're spending your money on. And if you're not seeing any results, you might want to reach out to somebody that like us, to kind of discuss and walk you through that. Because I hate to see somebody no, not Tractor Supply either. So that's really the nice thing about having someone like ourselves who are truly CBD advocates. I don't make it a commonplace to talk down about other CBD products. I don't keep up with everything that everybody uses, but if you reach out and you say, hey, can you tell me what you think about this? I will just simply explain to you what it does and what it does not have. And that really is pretty cut and dry once you start looking at labels and what potential it has to help your animals and what potential it doesn't. So that is the really nice, important thing about being a part of the Green Compass family, is like what Dawn was saying earlier. On the bottom of every single product that we have is this QR code, which breaks down every single thing that is in these products. Much like, being a mom, a lot of times I'll ingest some stuff that I probably wouldn't, but I wouldn't necessarily give that to my kids, and I wouldn't necessarily give it to my dogs either. And we are seeing a big shift towards preventative, using hemp-based wellness, CBD, THC as an actual preventative. I wish that this is something that I probably would have used on one of my dogs a couple of years ago, because at the age of 9, she all of a sudden had a huge tumor and cancer all over her body, and otherwise she was perfectly healthy. And I really think that it came from the water supply that we had, because the vet told me that week she had diagnosed 5 dogs with the same exact thing, and we all lived in the same area. So it's very kind of uncanny and unnerving as to how that happened. And now looking back and possibly having been able to prevent some of that stuff by using CBD as something to bump up the wellness stores in their bodies, not just ours. Puppy wise, my puppy is a ball of laughs. I love that dog. She is so much fun and she keeps me on my toes. But yeah, I mean, when you've got, I've got another Australian Shepherd, and the puppy is an Australian Shepherd. The older one is just a touch nervous sometimes. And so I have definitely been using the CBD to balance the both of them out and keep one, not from looking at me and saying, Mom, get this thing out of my face and out of my house, and the other one to like tone it down just a little bit and be like, I'm not going to completely jump on her head every time I see her. So it's nice to see that kind of balance out and even see how it's helped the puppy sleep better through the night. I can tell a big difference when she's not had it in the afternoon and how she wakes up in the middle of the night and then of course wakes me up in the middle of the night. Fireworks, yes, Kathleen, fireworks, thunderstorms. We've had some crazy storms here the last couple of nights. It's been wild and it's been an epic help to have that as a as just another tool in my pocket for the dogs, because the storms here the night before last were wild. And even we have 6 shop cats. And I can tell when they're kind of haven't had their regimen as well. But on the German Shepherd side, my dad used to raise German Shepherds, and we have a friend that goes out on the boat with us every single week during the summer, and they have a German Shepherd. He literally hunts fish all day long. That dog does not stop from the time he gets off the boat and back on the boat. He does not pay attention to another single dog on the beach or another person, and he hunts fish all day long. It's the wildest thing you've ever seen. They do not stop moving. But you know, pets and the place that they hold in our heart. And Michelle has a lot more experience with dealing with pets who have, you know, some damage in their lives, emotional damage per se. And how do we do these every single time we end up crying? So like just to sit there and think about an animal that gets you know, like they haven't had a home and then they get a home and then 3 or 4 days later they got to go back to that awful loud place working in a kennel. If you've ever worked in one, it's loud and it is obnoxious, and you put a scared, terrified animal in there and it just makes the worst come out of them, and they don't know any better. They're literally, like Lisa said, in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And it does bad things to animals. They will absolutely act in a way that is not what they normally do. So Michelle, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight and telling us your experience and just shining some more light on the reason why this product and this plant is so amazing for what we are doing, and you know, what it means to us and our families and how we can help other families, not just human families, but pet families too. So if y'all have any questions, reach out to the advocate who invited you here. There's lots of ways to get involved with what we're doing, whether it be an advocate or a customer as a referral source. And we would love to talk to you more about how CBD can potentially help you or your animals or a friend or a loved one. So reach out, leave a message, and we will talk to you next Sunday night at 7 p.m. Same bat time, same bat place. We will see you later. Good night.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night.